Brazil, 5 World Cup trophies. The most romanticized football nation on earth. A country where a kid kicking a bottle cap in a favela can grow up to make 80,000 people cry tears of joy. But right now, in 2026, Brazil walks into this tournament not as royalty, but as a question mark. Because the man running the show made one decision that shocked an entire nation. He left out a striker with 15 Premier League goals and called up a 34-year-old who hasn't played a serious international match in nearly 3 years. Welcome to Brazil, where football is a religion, and Ancelotti just rewrote the sermon.
You don't just watch Brazil play football, you feel it. There's a reason the whole world has a soft spot for the yellow jersey. It's not just the trophies, it's the style, the flair, the audacity, the bicycle kicks at 2-0 up, the nutmegs for sport, the celebrations that look like they were choreographed 3 days in advance. Brazil doesn't just win, Brazil performs. And that identity, that Samba DNA, was born in the streets, the beaches, the concrete courts where kids invented moves that had no names yet. That's why the nickname stuck, Os Sambistas, the Samba Boys. A label that started as a description and became a destiny. Other nations play football, Brazil dances it, and the whole world showed up to watch the show. And look, you can't talk about Brazil without talking about the food. This is a country where the national dish, feijoada, a black bean stew slow-cooked with pork, sausage, and whatever else is available, was invented by enslaved people making something extraordinary out of almost nothing. Sound familiar? That's Brazil. Take what you have, add rhythm, add soul, and turn it into something the whole world wants a piece of. The churrasco on the grill, the coxinha at the street corner, the acai bowl that somehow became a global export. Brazilian food, like Brazilian football, doesn't ask for your permission, it just makes you want more. From Pelé to Ronaldo to Ronaldinho, Brazil has always said, we don't just want to win the World Cup, we want to make you remember how we did it. Let's talk about the last time Brazil was truly, undeniably the best team on the planet. 2002, South Korea and Japan. That squad? Good lord, that squad. Ronaldo up front, coming off 2 years of mysterious health problems and still scoring 8 goals to win the Golden Boot. Ronaldinho beside him, 22 years old, doing things with a football that shouldn't be physically possible. Rivaldo, who scored one of the greatest hat tricks in World Cup history against England. Roberto Carlos on the left, a man whose free kick against France in 1997 still has physics professors confused. Cafu on the right, literally running the entire flank for 90 minutes every game. And Gilberto Silva in midfield, quietly making sure none of it fell apart. Brazil didn't win that World Cup. Brazil conquered it. 7 games, 7 wins. Scored 18 goals, conceded 4. No draws, no losses, 0. It wasn't a tournament run, it was a coronation. And since then, Brazil has been chasing that ghost for 24 years. Now let's talk about this squad. Ancelotti, the man who won 4 Champions Leagues, the most decorated club manager in history. He's the first non-Brazilian ever to coach Brazil at a World Cup. And he's put together something that looks good on paper, but comes with a lot of asterisks. The starting 11 shapes up like this. Alisson in goal. Back 4 of Wesley, Gabriel Magalhães, Marquinhos, and Alexandro. Midfield 3 of Casemiro, Bruno Guimarães, and Lucas Paquetá. And in attack, Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, and Mateus Cunha. The philosophy is classic Ancelotti. Organized, compact, built around a world-class forward. And that world-class forward, right now, is Vinicius Jr., the Real Madrid superstar who is genuinely one of the best 2 or 3 players on earth. If anyone is bringing that trophy back to Brazil, it runs through him. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because for every name Ancelotti included, there's a name he didn't. Thiago Silva, 113 caps, a living legend. The backbone of Brazil's defense for 15 years, left at home at 41. Richarlison, the striker who scored that bicycle kick against Serbia and Qatar, not in the squad. Gabriel Jesus, still Premier League quality at Arsenal, gone. Savinho, one of the most exciting young wingers in Europe right now, not there. Andre Santos, one of the most promising young midfielders in the country, left out. And Rodrigo, Real Madrid's Rodrigo, consistent in the Champions League for 3 seasons, injured and absent. Oh, and Estevão, the 18-year-old who just signed for Chelsea, arguably the most exciting young Brazilian talent since Endrick, also injured. This Brazil squad has class, but it also has gaps, and those gaps were made more obvious by one decision in particular.
popular. João Pedro, Chelsea striker, 15 Premier League goals this season, more than any other Brazilian playing in Europe right now. A player so informed that even Ancelotti himself, when pressed by journalists, admitted, and this is a direct quote, João Pedro deserved to be included. Let that sink in. The coach admitted the player deserved to be there, and still didn't pick him. Instead, Ancelotti chose Neymar, a man playing in the Brazilian league at Santos, who hasn't represented his country since October 2023, who tore his ACL, who spent 2 years in Saudi Arabia barely playing, who by every conventional metric should not be at this tournament. But this is Brazil, and in Brazil, Neymar is not just a footballer. He is a symbol, a religion, and Ancelotti apparently decided the symbol was worth more than the stats. João Pedro, meanwhile, is sitting at home watching Morocco kick off against Brazil on June 13th, with 15 goals this season and no plane ticket. And then there's Neymar. Where do you even start? He changed his Instagram bio the morning of the announcement. Removed Santos, added Brazil. That's how the world found out before Ancelotti even read his name. He cried. The crowd at the Museum of Tomorrow erupted. Fans outside with signs celebrating his return. Because love him or criticize him, Neymar is Brazil's all-time top scorer with 79 goals. He is the man who carries the weight of an entire football culture on his shoulders. And at 34, coming off one of the worst injury runs of any elite player in recent memory, he has somehow found his way back onto the plane to North America. Ancelotti was direct. We chose Neymar because we believe he can help the team, whether it's for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 90 minutes, or even taking a penalty. 1 minute, 90 minutes. The gap between those two scenarios tells you everything about how uncertain this situation actually is. Brazil is betting on the magic, and the magic at this point comes with no guarantees. So where does this leave Brazil in 2026? They are not 2002. They are not the automatic favorites. France is stronger on paper. Spain is more cohesive. Argentina is the reigning champion. But Brazil has Vinicius Jr. at the peak of his powers. They have Rafinha, who has been one of the best players in La Liga this season. They have Bruno Guimaraes, quietly one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. They have Endrick, still only a teenager but already showing glimpses of something special. And they have, for better or worse, Neymar. The group stage is manageable. Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Brazil should get through. But the knockout rounds? That's where 24 years of waiting either ends or continues. Brazil doesn't need to play perfect football. Brazil needs to play their football. The Samba, the flair, the audacity. Because if they do, if Vinicius is electric, if Neymar finds even a ghost of his former self, if Ancelotti gets his tactics right, then maybe, just maybe, the yellow jersey gets to lift a trophy for the first time since that night in Yokohama. And if they don't, then João Pedro gets to say he told them so from his couch with 15 goals and no regrets.